60%. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Belichick's Bitches podcast, the number one podcast in the world by some sort of metric, using the best source, the only source. Do you trust me? I am your host, Brennan, and along with me, as always, is my co host, Tyler.
Sir, and we're back, and we're back in a slow week of the NFL. Kind of been a little bit of teams are just kind of focusing on training camp, trying to make up for lost time.
Pretty much.
And so, but we actually have a few bit of stories. I think the big one, I'm going to take the big one because, I get to go first.
Fine.
Earl Thomas got cut. There's a bunch of reports flying around, so I'm not going to speculate, but apparently he's been, just kind of freelancing in coverage, and teams just had enough of it. I don't know the full story, but he got cut after a practice incident. I think it was Friday.
Yeah, with fellow safety Chuck Clark.
Chuck Clark.
And
And that's something that you don't see a lot.
That wasn't the first.
He had an argument with Brandon Williams after a regular season game last season. Again, that's kind of rare to see two defensive backs go at each other.
Yeah.
Normally you don't see that. Normally it's offense versus defense. So again, we don't know the full story. We probably won't until years. Probably won't know the full story of this. But obviously they just felt that he wasn't worth the huge contract they gave him. So they cut him. I think they saved a lot of money by that. Okay, so Brennan's having a minute. So we're going to go with the next one. I'm going to go with take the Patriots one. Jarrett Stidham suffered a minor leg injury. Apparently, he's having to nurse it, and he was already starting to fall behind in the quarterback race. So Stidham's out. So that gives Hoyer and Newton the best shot at the starter job. I think we all kind of know who's going to win that one, though. I don't think there's really a choice that New England has. So, yeah. Another one. Like, I'm going to do the only small ones so Brendan doesn't feel too bad about it. This one actually happened today. Grant Delpit suffered a suspected Achilles injury. They haven't done any tests on it yet, so they don't know for sure. But I guarantee by the time this comes out, it will. But he suffered what looks to be a calf Achilles injury. He's been dealing with that all throughout his college career, so it wouldn't be surprising that this is happened. It's the same ankle, and it just sucks because he was definitely going to play a huge part of that Cleveland defense. So they're losing him. Cleveland just continues to be a struggle franchise. Oh, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, what did we go over?
I did Stidham's leg injury, Grant Delpit, and Earl Thomas. That's what we've done so far.
Okay.
So
Sorry
I'll let
about
you
that,
take
y'all.
the next couple. No problem. So I'll let you talk about Ron Rivera because,
Yeah, so
that's probably the only other one.
Washington football team head coach Ron Rivera has been diagnosed with early stage cancer. I don't remember which exactly it was. But they caught it early enough where he should be okay. He'll go through all the treatments and everything like that. The doctor said that he's still able to coach, and he probably will still be coaching for this upcoming season, thankfully.
Yeah, and I read that he's what's it called? He has a plan in place in case he does have to step down for the season. He has coordinators ready to step up. So I think Washington, they're in a transition year anyway. So hopefully this doesn't affect Rivera long term because that just sucks.
I just got a new notification, by the way.
Oh, about what?
The Dolphins have waived / injured defensive end Curtis Weaver, one of their fifth-round draft picks from the 2020 NFL Draft. He was the Mount West Conference's all-time leader in sacks at Boise State.
Ooh. Really?
Yep.
Jeez. Damn.
There's a lot of people getting cut because they've been injured, surprisingly, this season.
I wonder if there's like a clause in these rookie deals because of the COVID
There,
that allows them to save more money on these. I don't. That's probably just me throwing something out there. But I've noticed that a lot of later round picks and stuff are getting cut.
yeah, this year,
And,
yeah, especially.
yeah, I know you kind of saw that a little bit last year with the Jets cutting their third round pick. I forgot his name.
Ja'Kai Polite.
But, yeah. So, but dang, that sucks. Curtis Weaver too.
Yeah.
Shows how much I know. Um, yes. So one of everyone's favorite players, I guess he was a very hype prospect for his production. Thaddeus Moss got cut. While we're talking about cuts, got cut by Washington again with that waived slash injured designation.
That one was kind of surprising to me because
It
Washington's
was
tight end room is very, very shallow, and there's like not really a defined starter there.
no. I mean, they've been even I think trying out Gandy Golden in the tight end spot in packages from what I've read. I don't know. I just think that the value for Moss is there. I know he's not your prototypical tight end. He's shorter. He has shorter arms. I get that. But he was a really good, third down target for LSU. That
Yeah,
offense
he's
last
a
year.
very good possession tight end.
So it's weird to me that he didn't even make it to the final couple weeks of training camp with Washington all teams. I don't know. I guess that's one of the things where they obviously know a lot more than we do. They have more information,
Yeah.
and I think he'll get picked up for a practice squad
Oh yeah,
position this year.
definitely.
I'm excited to see who picks him up. I don't think it'll be New England. I think if I had to give my best shot, this is kind of the team I've been thinking about ever since it got cut was the Jets. I do think he would be a good developmental piece to kind of have in the organization for the Jets.
I like to also
They need
I like to also
playmakers.
see him perhaps get signed by Indianapolis. I think he'd be good there.
It would be cool, but they do have a pretty good habit of developing tight ends.
Yeah.
Jack Doyle,
Yeah,
they had
be good
Ebron. They
behind Jack
turned
Doyle.
Ebron into really good. They had Mo Alley Cox, who's one of my favorite players, an under the radar tight end, former basketball player. So
Those former
I would
basketball
love to see
players
him.
playing tight end, I swear, man.
Did you know Antonio Gates played college basketball? I
Wow.
think anyone knew that.
Did anyone know that?
No one knows that. Okay, I have to ask. I know this is probably I should know who this is, but you put this. Who is Justin Strnad?
Okay, Justin Strnad is the Broncos' fifth round pick. He is
Okay, he's a Bronco. Okay, I
Yes.
wanted to make. I was like 90% sure he's some Broncos player I never heard of.
Yeah, he was our fifth round. He was one of our fifth round picks this year. Rookie linebacker out of Wake Forest. He was brought in solely based off his coverage ability because that's what we really lack in the linebacker room, and it's one of our shallowest positions on the entire team, besides probably offensive line. And now he's out for the entire 2020 season because he's having wrist surgery. From what I saw from the reports, is that he had broken his wrist and he needed emergency surgery to make sure there was no nerve damage, and then he's getting another surgery to actually repair the broken wrist. I think coming up soon, and he'll miss the entire season.
And was that playing football or was that like a previous thing? Or
That was
that
at
like
training camp.
that training camp? Okay, I just want to make sure. I had never seen that last name before. Normally, those last names kind of stick in your head. I've never seen a Strnad. I've never seen four four letters like that.
Four consonants.
Yeah, I thought you mistyped something.
No.
All right.
I could talk
This
about
was
the
an
other Bronco.
interesting one. Yeah, this one was interesting. About the Cage Hamler. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Alright.
Kevin White. That's a name you haven't heard of in
Oh,
2 years.
like
He's,
ever since he
working
was a
out-
first round pick, pretty much.
He's working out with the Jets. Jets, like I talked about last week, they ain't got anything at the receiving end. They're going to be rocking out with a rookie and a bunch of
Yeah. Jamison Crowder,
kind
Quincy
of
Enunwa,
proven-
and Denzel Mims, pretty much.
and don't forget Rashad Perriman. But
Yeah.
I guess they like their old first round wide receivers that were kind of disappointing. I don't think that's going to really even happen. I don't even think he fits in that receiver room. I'd rather give those snaps to Denzel. It just doesn't
Well,
make
they haven't
sense.
signed him. They're just working him out. Probably seeing where his
Yeah.
health is, because
Yeah.
that's been the main thing throughout
That's
his
why
entire career.
I just don't think he's even going to sign.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's good to keep your emergency lists up. That's pretty much what it was. So what happened to Hamler?
So
Quad, I think?
KJ Hamler, I think he got carted off the training camp a few days ago with an apparent quad injury. And quad injuries, especially for receivers, are something you want to take very much caution with, because they are the quad is a muscle that's gonna linger a lot if you don't heal it 100%. So you're gonna want to watch out for that. He'll be out for a few weeks. He might miss the first week of the season, but he might make it for against the Titans. But I wouldn't expect him to be out there week 1, or have a very limited role at that.
There's really no rush because he is so young, and the receiving core, the 1 and 2 are so solid in Denver that there's really no rush. He can compete for that number 3 spot throughout the season. That's another name I haven't heard of. D. Kirkpatrick. That's another name I haven't really. Is that? I thought it was supposed to be Dre.
It was Dre. Yeah, it's Dre.
I think I missed that.
Yeah,
I missed that up. He worked out for the Cardinals. The Cardinals they've always been looking for that number 2 corner. They can never find it. If Byron Murphy, who's trying to get to that number 2 spot, but he was inconsistent last year.
He seems more like a slot corner to me.
Arizona loves to sign slot corners to play corner 2. Doesn't work. They've done like 3 times with like Buda Baker, Robert Alford.
Well, now Buda Baker's a decent safety at least.
They tried to move him to corner. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was his rookie year actually.
He couldn't play corner. Yeah, he just couldn't play corner. He was a good safety. I almost put him in my top 10, but as corner. So hopefully Arizona can finally actually find a good number 2 corner for Pat Pete before he leaves.
Yeah,
whenever that is. Former. I love getting clickbaited by ESPN and all these sports places. Because you ever noticed when Malcolm Smith signs anywhere, because he's a journeyman, so he signs somewhere every offseason, right? I love when a team or you'll see these places say former Super Bowl MVP signs, and it's just Malcolm Smith.
It's Malcolm Smith. Yeah, you don't have to remind me of that. I'm okay. I don't want to be reminded of that.
I took Malcolm Smith so you didn't have to talk about it, because I know you probably would have.
I don't.
Would have started.
I'm having PTSD from 2013.
But yeah, so he signed with the Browns. He'll be a rotational coverage backer.
Yeah.
He's getting up there in age. God, it feels like that Super Bowl was like 2 years ago.
Nope. It was 7.
Yeah, make me feel old. Damn, I'm not even old. All right. Well, that was pretty much like we said. It was really slow week.
Yeah. I think most of this stuff that we put down just came in like the last 2 days.
Yeah, and we were just trying to make sure we didn't talk for 1 minute and leave on.
Yeah.
But hey, so this is the final week of the top 10s. Sad. Been doing them for forever, like 6 episodes. We're doing the nose tackles and interior pass rushers. So very exciting. Not really.
Oh, it's better than offensive linemen at least. Which you did last week.
Listen, they're important. They're just hard to evaluate without using the same four metrics.
Yeah.
So do you want to do the nose tackles or the pass rushers?
Let's save the pass rushers.
Yeah, because nose tackles are a little
underwhelming in terms of name value.
Yeah, definitely. So nose tackle. I promise you this isn't Patriots bias. I literally couldn't think of another nose tackle at number 10. I put Danny Shelton.
Okay.
I was a Lion now, but when you think of a nose tackle, that's who you think of. You think of a big old 340 pound, 6'3",
just a big man right over the center.
Shelton does his job very well. He's a one down player, but he does his job very well, and he's kind of underrated. And in Detroit, he's probably going to get worse because he's in Detroit. But Really good nose tackle, and I slipped him in the top 10.
Yeah, I pretty much did the same thing at number 10. Maybe biased, but nose tackle is just one of the most replaceable positions in the league, besides running back. Probably the second most besides running back, um, or even first most. I went with Mike Purcell, the nose tackle for the Broncos. He kind of came out of nowhere last year. Just a very big man who's like, because we were playing Shelby Harris at nose tackle for some reason for the first couple weeks, and then Coach Fangio decided to finally make the switch and put Purcell there when he was just a backup, and he's excelled there as just a big man who takes up double teams up the middle. What'd you say?
That's what you want out of your nose tackle. You're not looking. I said that's what you're looking at for your nose tackle.
No, no,
You're
no,
not
no, no.
looking
What'd you
for
whisper? I heard you whisper
double-digit
something.
sacks. I didn't whisper anything.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
have to
whisper
go
that
back.
that was like your 9th Bronco at number 10.
Oh.
I didn't, I didn't whisper that that's like the 9th Bronco you've put at a number 10 spot or anything. I never say
I couldn't
anything
think
like
of
that.
anything else. So come on now.
Yeah, but that's what, no, but that's what you want out of your nose tackle. You don't want double-digit sacks. You don't want flashy numbers. You just want someone to eat up a double team every now and again. They're really some of the most unselfish players on the team are nose tackles. They're a lot better than just the box score will say. Now, sadly, they don't get the name recognition. So number 9, this one, he kind of plays nose tackle. Then he'll play interior pass rusher. He's kind of a 3 technique. I put Daron Payne out there in Washington.
Okay.
Still kind of more of an unknown guy. Not many people talk about him. Again, he's on Washington. But with Chase Young coming in, I think you might start hearing his name pop up a little bit more. You're going to see him getting double teamed a lot with Jonathan Allen because they're both kind of the same player, like very similar players. And I think you'll see Payne kind of. If I had to give a prediction for sacks, I actually say he gets 5 or 6 sacks, which is pretty good for a nose tackle. Especially with when you have Chase Young, and Chase Young's going to get double teams.
Chase Young, Grant
2,
Kerrigan, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen.
If you aren't double teaming Chase Young week 3, you're doing it wrong. It's seriously, he's going to be that good. Like he looks that good in training camp.
Yeah.
That's why I slipped Payne in number 9, kind of as a projection more than an actual what he's produced in the NFL.
At number 9, I put Giants nose tackle Dalvin Tomlinson.
Mm-hmm.
Just another big guy who's very good at taking those double teams and honestly gets some pretty good sheds in the run game as well when he's not being double teamed. Just able to plug up those holes exactly as needed.
Yeah. He's also he was pretty good on that Giants D-line last year.
Yeah. Probably the best one, maybe besides rookie Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, him and Dexter were a pretty good duo.
Yeah.
From what I saw. Number 8, actually one of the bigger named free agents, believe it or not, DJ Reader. He left Houston and he signed a pretty good deal with Cincinnati. I believe it was a 3-year $30.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
I wanted him in Denver.
He signed with Cincinnati. Oh man, DJ Reader was really good in Houston. He was really like an unsung type guy because he took a double team almost every snap. Again, because he's so big. But he was really good, and I think now with him and Geno Atkins, and then you combine that with Carl Lawson, and Sam Hubbard and the other guys they have on that D line.
Yeah.
Cincinnati might have a sneaky good pass rush where they can take a step forward, but they weren't very good last year.
I'm not going to
number 8.
bother to talk much about my number 8 player since you already talked about him. I put Danny Shelton at number 8.
Wow, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, again, he's the most prototypical nose tackle that you can think of. Yeah. Number 7. Kind of, I feel like he's a little overrated, this guy, but I put him on Jordan Phillips. He was with Buffalo, I think, last year. He signed with Arizona. Man, I thought he was a little overrated because he was playing with a really good defense. But, again, he's a nose tackle, and I think he'll be able to fill that. They haven't had a really good nose tackle in Arizona since, like, 2015 when they had who isn't playing nose tackle on those really good teams? I can't even. my mind's blanking right now, but he's pretty good.
Which team?
And Phillips, even though I think he's the 2014, 2015 Cardinals, when they had Palmer. They had a nose tackle, and it's bothering me that I can't remember him.
Yeah.
I can see his face. He was really dominant. I just cannot. It was after Dockett. It was not Darnell Dockett. It was after Dockett. It's not going to come to me. If it comes to me later in the episode, I'll bring it back. But I think he'll be able to plug that hole pretty well. Get it? Reference?
Dan Williams.
No. Okay. Dan Williams, yes. Who's your number 7?
At number 7, again, it's a player that you've already talked about. Just projection again. I put Deron Payne at number 7.
We're actually more similar on these than I thought. Yeah, I think that I can't wait to see that Washington defense.
Yeah, that's gonna.
I know that's as long as if we could just watch Washington football without seeing that offense next year, I'd be really happy. It's just half of their football is going to be on offense.
Yeah.
Dang. Number 6, kind of the Rock in New Orleans, David Onyemata. Now, when you talk about the Saints D line, you don't talk about David Onyemata. You kind of talk about the Cameron Jordan. You know, maybe if you're a little flashy, you'll bring up the Hendrickson or the Marcus Davenport.
Demario Davis.
No one really talks about Onyemata. Line. No one talks about Onyemata. I know Rankins kind of outshines him as he's more flashy, but he's more of a pass rusher. Onyemata is he's a 1-2 down player.
Yeah.
And I really like his game. He's not flashy. He's just really his nose down, and he's pretty mean. When you watch his tape, he's pretty mean.
At number 6,
you have a number 6 because
I have Linval Joseph, the nose tackle for the LA Chargers. How am I still doing that? How many years has it been? And I'm still calling them San Diego.
Dude. Well, when they're in San Diego, at least they had fans in the games.
Yeah, that's true. This is gonna be a real quick tangent, but there's a guy who will literally come into my work and he has like a Chargers shirt, and I asked him about it. It's like, oh, you're a Chargers fan? He's like, no, I don't like the Chargers. I just like the shirt. I'm like, oh, okay. That's the most Chargers fan thing I've probably ever heard.
I mean, I kind of get where he's coming from because their color pattern's pretty cool, but that's mean. That's mean, man. Oh wow. Yeah, Linval Joseph.
I'm sorry, Chargers. You're like the second, like the team I hate the least in the AFC West. If that's any compilation prize.
Kind of how I see a lot of Patriots. Again, I guess a lot of Patriots fans like hate the Bills. I don't hate the Bills. I hate the Jets and Dolphins. I really don't hate the Bills.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mainly because we've absolutely demolished them the past 20 years. But I don't know. I've never hated Buffalo. I know Buffalo fans hate us. They kind of have a reason.
I hate the Raiders and the Chiefs, but the Chargers I'm fine with.
Yeah, I don't really. I kind of like the Bills, especially since they have Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen. Number 5. If you have him, I'll be very shocked. Daquan Jones.
No.
Nose tackle for Tennessee. He is filthy. He's not the most technique-based guy. Again, not most nose tackles aren't. But just watch his highlights. I know he's kind of had injury issues. He's mean, dude. He's powerful. He's probably the most powerful nose tackle out here beside Danny Shelton and another guy. We'll talk about another big guy later. I love watching Daquan Jones. He's really, really good for me. And I think he kind of flies under people's radars, especially since he plays in Tennessee. And before this season, Tennessee was mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
My number 5 is, again, like you've already said before in your list, Cincinnati Bengals nose tackle DJ Reader. I really liked him heading into this year's free agency. I really wanted Denver to grab him up. He's a very solid nose tackle, but I think he's also underrated in his pass rush ability. But he's definitely much more of a nose tackle. He just has that extra ability if you so require of him. But yeah,
He's a high motor.
he's very
He's a
high
high
motor.
motor.
And very
That's what helps
underrated.
at nose tackle. That's how most nose tackles get their sacks, is by having a high motor. Normally, you won't see a nose tackle just burst through the line like an edge rusher will.
Hmm.
Normally, you'll see nose tackle, unless it's a missed assignment. Nose tackles need about 2 or 3 seconds to really get past their guy, mainly because they're getting double teams most of the time. So, yeah, I mean, that's why I like about Reader, is he's just so high motor. Number 4 is where I put Limbo Joseph. Like you kind of said, I mean, he's just really good. I mean, he doesn't really excel at everything, at any one thing. I think he's just really a good all around nose tackle.
Yeah.
When you're a good all around nose tackle, you're really, really good, because it's hard to be good at everything a nose tackle does. Just do a lot of the little things. Take a huge beating. Trust me, poor guys.
All right.
Who do you have at number 4?
My number 4, you might have left him off your list, I don't know. But I went with Eddie Goldman, the nose tackle for the Bears.
I did leave him off. I was considering either him, Shelton, or Payne for the last 2 spots.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah, I put him at 4. I really like Eddie Goldman's game. He's a solid piece on the interior of that Bears defensive line. He works great alongside Akeem Hicks. And he's just been great ever since he got into Chicago. And I think he's a bit underrated.
honestly, as high priced as that Bears defense was, a lot of their pieces kind of go under the radar.
Yeah.
Because Khalil Mack does take 99.99% of that spotlight.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, Khalil Mack had a down year because he was getting damn near triple teamed. I mean, teams were putting their right tackle, their tight end, and then their running back as a chip guy. I think
Yeah.
What was the play last year? That was kind of like the meme. They had like almost 4 blockers on Khalil Mack. At a running back, they had a tight end, and they had 2 offensive linemen on freaking Khalil Mack. He got the
curse play art.
it's the treatment. Yeah. Number 3 is where I put Brandon Williams. I think he's probably, trying to think of how to say this. The only issue with him is his motor. That's my only issue with him, and that's a small issue because, again, what do I know? I'm just some schmuck. But that's probably my only issue with Brandon Williams, is at times his motor doesn't seem the highest. But when he has a high motor, he's best nose tackle in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Far. It's just consistency is a little bit of an issue. But I think if he gets that consistency issue float out, he will easily pass the 2 guys ahead of him. At least for me. And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm just stupid. Hey, that's always possible.
Yeah, it is always possible.
It is. I mean, I talk to you every week.
Damn, well. Says the weeb.
Okay.
All right.
You nerd.
So number 3, we got one of the same. I put Brandon Williams at 3 as well.
Cool.
I
We might
was
actually have the.
I was not expecting us to get like multiple
In the same spot.
same
Yeah.
spot on this one. But yeah, Brandon Williams at number 3. Pretty much same concern, just consistency, and his motor ain't the highest, but definitely he's definitely by far one of the strongest nose tackles in the league. He's not the
Yeah.
fastest, but he is definitely one of the strongest.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, and yeah, actually, hold on, let me see. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
So for number 2, I'm gonna say this man's full name.
Oh god,
So
I know
you
who
sit
it
back
is.
because you'll eat me.
I already know who it is.
I am gonna do this in one go. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna do this in one go. You ready? All right. Tevita tuli yakiano tui porioto mose baja feco
Baja California. Baja Blast Mountain Dew.
I thought that was pretty good, man. I think that's a decent effort. I'll take it.
Tavita
He's my number 2. nose tackle.
Tuliaki
Vita Vea.
Ono Tui Pulutu Mosehe Vahe Fehoko Valetao Vea.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Vita Vea. What can you say about Vita Vea that beside he is Danny Shelton on crack?
I don't know that was
That's
necessary, but
that's what he is. I mean, you take Danny Shelton, right?
you
And
just
then
give him
you
a bunch
make
of
him you make him really fast, right? Because he has no right being as fast as he is. He's stupid fast. And then you put him on a D line and you let him just wreak havoc up the front. That's what he is. He even looks like Shelton. He has
Yeah.
just the same look. I mean, body type and everything. That's what he is. He's Shelton, just
better.
given some cocaine. Yeah, Vita Vea is fun to watch.
So I guess we know who's getting an NFL drug test after this podcast.
So, yeah, Danny Shelton and Vita Vea are about to get calls. Oh, that was funny. So, what do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I have Vita Vea as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's much else I can add on to Vita Vea after that.
I thought that was a pretty good analogy. You came up with that on the fly too. I'm pretty happy.
Kind of figured. I'd be a bit concerned if you had that one drawn up for a few hours.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, yeah.
You know who Vita Vea reminds me of? He reminds me of Kenny Clark, but a druggie.
Speaking of Kenny Clark, that's my number 1. Anyway, Kenny Clark's my number 1. I know some people would put him as a pass rusher, and I do think he is at times a pass rusher. I just think he's a better nose tackle. I think that's where he lines up most of the time, and he's probably one of the better run stuffers in the league. Put him as a nose tackle. If you put him as an interior pass rusher, I wouldn't argue, but I put him at nose tackle.
That's fair.
My number 1.
My number 1, I put Michael Pierce, the nose tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. Just a very good run stuffer, very strong as well. And he actually is decently athletic for a man of his size. I'd probably put him in that near same category as Vita Vea with his terms of athleticism. I just think he's a bit more polished than Vita Vea, and that's why I put him at number 1.
Okay. So that was a little bit more fun than I thought it was going to be. Interior pass rushers. Now this one is kind of, again, another one that it's almost hard to differentiate the difference between the two, because you're seeing a lot more players line up at nose tackle, but have the ability to pass rush very well. And with how many more edge rushers are getting double teams, especially, they're getting more one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, they're starting to shine.
So that's what it was hard for me, because a lot of those nose tackles, I mean, they are really good pass rushers, even if they don't get the sack numbers. I think that's why a couple of these guys on the list you could qualify as nose tackles. And I think you could. I mean, hey, Aaron Donald's good enough to be the best nose tackle in the league if he wanted to.
He's a bit undersized.
I almost thought of that. Have you seen him in training camp? I mean, it's not undersized anymore. Oh, you give him another 20 pounds, he could definitely play nose tackle.
Yeah.
But I almost thought about putting him at number 1 nose tackle, but I didn't. So your pass rusher number 10, I put Cameron Hayward.
Okay.
Out there in Pittsburgh. The issue is he does kind of line up on the edge sometimes because of how
I consider him interior more than edge.
Yeah, but at times, I think, especially earlier in his career, he was definitely an edge.
Yeah.
And he's kind of moved more in. He's kind of like a Trey Flowers type of guy where he can kind of do both. He's more of a hybrid. He can almost play any position on the D line. I put him at number 10. I just think he's just consistently really good for Pittsburgh, and interior pass rush has a lot more competition than nose tackle.
That's
a lot more.
That's very true.
So I put him at number 10. He's just really good, all around great.
My number 10 interior pass rusher, I put Kenny Clark. I think he's a slightly better pass rusher than he's a run stopper, but he's still a very good run stopper. And he does line up at nose a lot, so I absolutely see why
Yeah.
you put him at nose tackle.
Yeah. When I see Kenny Clark, I just always see him as this big 320-pound guy up the gut. Yeah, maybe I should watch more tape, but I think that's just from what I've seen from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you put him at a pass rusher, again, like I said earlier, I can't really blame anybody for doing that. Number 9, kind of a breakout player on this 49ers D line, Eric Armstead. Before this season, or last season, I guess, he wasn't really noticed as really, he was almost kind of disregarded a lot when you talk about those Niners. Him and Solomon were kind of grouped together as busts. I use that word loosely. But he definitely separated himself this season. He had like
Yeah.
what, 8 sacks? And I know he was playing against Nick alongside Bosa and Buckner and the other guy. I think it was Jones or something like that. I know he was playing with a bunch of good guys, but he showed up last year, and apparently he was good enough to where they felt comfortable enough trading Buckner for Javon Kinlaw. So hey, hopefully he can keep it up. He definitely, if he would have made this last year, he wouldn't have been anywhere near the top 10 at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 9 was I was trying to decide between two players. One of which was Eric Armstead, and the other which was Geno Atkins. But I went with Armstead instead.
Number 9.
Yep. I left Geno.
Yeah.
I had to leave Geno Atkins off the list. I put him at 11.
Wow. That means you left one of the guys I have in the top 10 off.
I just think there's so many good pass rushers, interior pass rushers. It's a
is.
lot more competitive list than nose tackle.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, with how many edge rushers are getting double teams because they're the flashier guys,
Yeah.
it's opening up these guys' ability to get 7, 8 sacks when maybe before they would have gotten 4. And that's what I love about the game, is it's constantly changing just a little bit. And that's one of those things I've noticed with the change to nickel defenses and dime defenses, getting away from the bases, unless you're playing in Seattle, of course.
Or Arizona.
But yeah, I think that's, again, I love seeing these guys that you wouldn't get that shot. Now all of a sudden, prove that they have insanely good pass rushing abilities.
Yeah.
Number 8. I think this, if all the guys I have, I think this is the guy you left off. Quan Short from Carolina. Kind of dealt with some injury history, and he's again on Carolina, which is kind of a tough card to be dealt at times. Quan Short, I think, is just all around really solid, and I think his pass rush is really unsung. I love his moves, very high motor. It's just injury history is kind of what kept him from big name recognition. I think he signed a pretty decent extension with Carolina last year. I have to look that up to confirm though. But hey, Quan Short's my number 8.
I did leave Quan Short off.
Yeah. Yep. I figured that was the name out of the ones I had left that you left off.
At number 8, this is where I put Cameron Haywood from Pittsburgh.
Nice.
I put him at number 8 pretty much for the same reasons you did. I just see him as more of interior than edge. Yeah, he did play a lot more edge in his rookie year, but he is able to go anywhere pretty much on that D line. And he's been really, I think he's really been the unsung hero of the Pittsburgh's defensive line his entire career.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets nearly as much credit as he deserves from probably non-Steeler fans.
He's been the constant. There's been a lot of changing pieces on that defense, especially just the whole defense in general, not just the D line. But Hayward's been there consistently ever since he stepped in. Number 7 is where I put Atkins. I know you left him off. Geno Atkins, man. Again, I know he was injured most of last season, so you didn't really get to see that much from him. But when he plays, he's elite. An elite pass rusher. He demands double teams, and I think he'll get that chance this season with playing with DJ Reader, playing with an improved edge. I think you'll see Atkins return to where he was before the injury.
I would
There.
be inclined to agree. Yeah.
I know he had a little down year, but I can't wait to watch him in Cincinnati. I can't. Again, the two worst teams in the league have defenses, or for last year, have defenses that I'm insanely interested in watching. Washington and Cincy. I really want to see those two defenses in action. More excited about those defenses in mine than New England's. But I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see Geno healthy. He's elite. You have a number 7.
So would you say about what was it? What were you saying about me having a certain number of Broncos players in the top 10? It was like 9, you said?
Oh, yeah, we get another. Yeah, we get another Bronco.
We're making it number 10 now. Jarrell Casey at number 7, recently acquired from the Titans for a 7th round pick. Casey has just he's been extremely underrated in Tennessee. I think he made the Pro Bowl I want to say the last 2 seasons or something like that. He's been extremely consistent throughout his career, averaging between like 5 and 10 sacks a season besides his first 2 years in his career. He's extremely productive and extremely underrated on the interior of that Tennessee defensive line, and I think he's going to do great things for the Broncos D-line this year.
When I first made the interior pass rusher, I had him. And I kind of thought about it, and the reason I didn't put him in the top 10, I ended up leaving him off, is I just didn't see. I don't know. I guess I didn't watch enough of him because I watched more Quan Short and a lot more Quan Short. So yeah, I guess you could say I forgot him, but I had him in the top 10, but I left him off. I just didn't see top 10 in him. But hey, hopefully he proves me wrong. Number 6, you may call this bias, but he hasn't been a Patriot for a couple of years. So, Trey Flowers, number 6. I still don't think people give him enough credit. He was great in New England, went to Detroit, and for being in Detroit, he's been very, very good. Again, I have to put for being in Detroit, but he's been very solid in Detroit. He should have had about 4 sacks against Green Bay last season, but I don't talk about the refs around here because okay. The refs were calling hands to the face on in the box. Hey, whatever. That irked me that game, that Detroit, and oh my god, just watching Trey Flowers have a really good first move and then all of a sudden hands to the face. Yeah, just.
Well, maybe we should stop putting his hands in people's face. It's not very polite.
He would. The one time when he literally pushed up into the guy's chest, just because the guy got so overpowered that he got pushed up, and they called it hands to the face.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those pictures. Like that's not hands to the face at all.
Yeah. So it was just like, yeah, a little tangent there. Trey Flowers, damn the refs, damn those refs, man. Anyway. Beside the point, number 6 is Trey Flowers.
At number 6, I have newly Indianapolis Colt DeForest Buckner.
Yes.
This is where I really start putting like these interior pass rushers as elite is number 6 and on. I think DeForest Buckner is the first elite pass rusher on this list.
Yeah, that's what number 5 is where I start mine. I don't think Flowers is elite yet. Possibly. Wink. Number 5. It's really hard to differentiate between these 1 through 5 guys for me. Beside number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
But like number 2 through 5 is hard. I put Grady Jarrett at 5. I know you're really high on Grady Jarrett. You'll probably have him in your top 3. And first of all, he destroys New England. He hates New England. He despises us because every time he plays us, he's only played us twice.
I don't blame him.
He's only played us twice, but I think he sacked us like 5 times. He had 3 sacks in the Super Bowl, and he had like 2 sacks the next season. He hates us, but man, he's good. He is a really high motor and just quick on his feet. for a big guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It almost looks like a nose tackle when you look at him. But man, he doesn't move like one. Mean guy. Yeah. He hates New England. Hates me too. I'm so glad I only have to play him like once every 3 years. That's such a blessing. Who do you have at your top 5?
For number 5, I have. He's a bit on the older side, but I think he still holds up. Ravens defensive end Calais Campbell, or Calais, however you pronounce it, Calais. He's been a very good interior pass rusher for practically his entire career, and he's still doing it at a high level. And now he's doing it with the Ravens, and they're gonna be a tough team to deal with on that D line.
I'm scared, man. That's gonna be just a mean team, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually my number 4. Like you said, just nasty, even at his age. And that Baltimore defense is going to be scary. Even without Earl Thomas. I feel like actually, this is probably going to be unpopular. I don't think they lost a whole lot losing Earl Thomas.
I'd be inclined
I know he's good. I know he's really good. But like you said, they have a really good young guy, Geno Stone.
Yeah, I really want to see what Geno Stone has.
With how good the corners are this year for Baltimore, if you have a replaceable safety, I don't think it's going to kill you. Yeah, you're not going to get maybe some of the highlight plays Earl Thomas would bring you every now and again. You may not get those. But how solid Marlon Humphrey is. And that's the side he's probably going to be on the most, is with Humphrey.
Yeah.
And if he's not on Humphrey's side, guess what?
He's got Marcus
He's with
Peters
Marcus
on the
Peters.
overseas. Yep.
He's with Tavon Young. You know, so he'll be fine. Whoever's at free safety next season,
Either Deshaun Elliott or Geno Stone.
I mean, yeah, and you even have another really good safety opposite you in Chuck Clark. So I don't think you're really losing much having losing Earl Thomas. I know that's probably not what we're talking about, but I think people like thinking that this is going to hurt the Ravens. It's not.
That's really
they gained cap. They opened up for a young guy to play there, and they can allocate that cap to one of the 3 guys that we talked about last week. You know how I said they're going to have to let one of Humphrey, Staley, and Lamar go?
Yeah.
It may not be the case anymore. Earl Thomas gone. I think that's one thing they could use that money to maybe bring in Marlon Humphrey instead of having to let him walk. I hope, as much as I hate the Ravens, hope Humphrey gets paid.
He deserves it.
Yeah, I kind of got off track. What was your number 4?
My number 4 is Eagles defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox. You say it very slowly. It sounds like you're saying something very inappropriate, but he is a extremely great player for the Eagles. Even at his age, like Calais Campbell, he still performs at extremely high level. There's not much you could really say bad about Fletcher Cox's game. Even for his age, he's still very athletic and very strong. He does exactly what he needs to do.
Yes. Totally didn't leave him off on accident.
Did you really?
So number 3. Yes, for the 3rd week in a row I messed up. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. You put Broncos players in every top 10. I leave some guys off every now and again. We each have our issues, okay? I still want you to send me.
I didn't put a Broncos player in quarterbacks.
Yeah, because the guy.
Or
you tell me next season you won't
lineman.
I swear next season if we do this and Drew Lock enters your top 10, I'm gonna flame you. I want you to send me your top 10 when we're done with this. And I want to see how many Broncos players. I want to see. It'd be a fun.
I've deleted most of them.
Never mind.
I'll have to go back through the.
I have to wait a couple more weeks. I have to wait a couple more weeks to make that joke. Never mind. Number 3, DeForest Buckner. Man, he's your dollar store Aaron Donald. I know that sounds like an insult. I promise it's not. He's Aaron Donald, but turned down a notch. But and you know how good Aaron Donald is? When you turn Aaron Donald down a bunch, he's still an elite or pass rusher. That's how good Aaron Donald is. We'll talk about Aaron Donald in a minute, I know. But Buckner is just crazy. And the Colts, I think, got a steal with that first round pick. I know they had to pay him. I get that. But Buckner's proven he's going to come in there. He's going to get you 8 sacks. He's going to demand a double team.
Yeah.
He's going to open up your edge rushers. That's what he's going to do. May not be the flashiest thing in the world. He isn't the flashiest player, but he's consistently elite. I don't know what else you can say about that besides he's just a monster.
Yeah. Yeah. The numbers, all 1 through 6 for me are pretty much interchangeable, depending on just purely off preference. Besides Aaron Donald, practically. Number 3 for me is Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones. I can't tell you how sad I was when Chris Jones got franchise tagged, and then somehow the Chiefs magically, they must have sent their cheerleaders to Roger Goodell's house because they magically came up with a crap ton more cap room. I don't know how they do it, but the cap isn't real for the Kansas City Chiefs because they gave him a massive contract along with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, which we've already talked about. He's just that good of a player on the interior. And he rightly deserves to be the best defensive lineman on the Chiefs. And how good he is.
He's my number 2. And the reason why is he's a game wrecker. He's just... When teams are playing Kansas City, right, their defense isn't something that's particularly noteworthy.
Yeah.
The defense is very poor as a whole. But you have 2 elite pieces on that defense, and that's what makes their defense serviceable. Normally, you can't just get by with a 2-man defense. Kansas City has kind of gotten away with it. Because when you have someone as good as Chris Jones, you have someone as good as Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah, the pieces they put around him aren't the best. You know, Frank Clark's probably the 3rd best defensive player on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those 2 guys are so good. They carry 2 or 3 guys' workload. And so that's why I think Chris Jones, I put him over, I know you put Grady Jarrett number 2. I put him over Grady Jarrett, and I put him over Buckner because I just think he does so much for that Kansas City defense. And he deserves every penny of that extension. I know we hate on the Chiefs, and I dislike the Chiefs a lot. But
that's something
he deserves it. any amount of money. Yeah, everyone hates the Chiefs. If you don't hate the Chiefs,
you're doing it wrong.
I kind of spoiled your number 2, but
yeah, my number 2 is Grady Jarrett. I honestly thought you'd probably put him lower on the list. Honestly, maybe that's just me thinking from like a national perspective because this dude Grady Jarrett is so disrespected on by a lot of even by a lot of Falcons fans. He's disrespected. Grady Jarrett is one of those dudes. I put him right under Aaron Donald, and that's probably as good as a compliment as you could probably ever get, being an interior pass rusher, being put right under Aaron Donald.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna say about Aaron Donald.
I think we already have talked about Aaron Donald without directly talking about Aaron Donald.
The only thing I have to say is he is the best pure football player I've ever watched. I don't say that lightly. I watched Tom Brady play.
Oh, come on now.
15 years.
We're talking about pure football players.
And I'm
talking about Tom Brady.
I'm talking about pure. I know, but okay, accomplishment. Pure football. I got to watch Randy Moss. I got to watch all these guys. I know I watched past or before 2005. But if you're talking about just the best football player, Aaron Donald has to be the best.
Oh yeah, I think he dominates in any
He's
area.
Dominant.
To be honest.
Yep. I've seen that argument. Oh, if he was playing in the 80s, he wouldn't be that good. Shut up. Okay? Aaron Donald by the time his career is done, you noted as the best defensive player of all time, if not top 3. I do think he's that good.
Yeah, he'll definitely be up there
I know
with
it's
like
probably
the Lawrence
recency
Taylors
bias.
and the Reggie Whites, definitely.
I just don't understand how Anyway, I know we can't make this list without Aaron Donald, number one. I know people are going to point out he only had 9 sacks. Well, whoop-de-doo. He was getting triple teamed every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had 20 sacks last year from an interior defensive lineman spot. So your argument that he only got 9 is pretty invalid.
Yeah.
Only 9 from interior defensive line. Okay.
Only 9. It's just that is how. I mean, I just can't even explain it. I just think he's just the best player I've seen play easily.
I'd be inclined to agree. Yes. Honestly,
I've been trying to think of other ones to kind of say to compare him to. I can't. He's fucking elite. I'll even use the cuss word. I don't use cuss words a lot. I'll use it here. That's what he deserves. He's fucking elite.
He is the elite of the elite. Yes.
So those were our top 10s. Those were pretty interesting. Actually, more similar than I thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
Because again, we didn't really have a criteria for these. We kind of stuck to a similar one. I was pretty happy with it. The only true difference was the Kenny Clark thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think that kind of shows the state of where the nose tackles are. When, the number one nose tackle, at least for me, would be probably in the 8 or 9 interior pass rush. I don't know if it would be like that 10 years ago.
Probably not.
Honestly. I think that just shows how much the game is playing, because those interior pass rushers at the bottom step into the nose tackle type role on third down. You know what I mean? You'll see Aaron Donald line up in front of the center on third down. Well, maybe on first down, he's kind of lining up near the left guard, maybe almost at the left tackle,
kind of in the B gap.
Yeah, you'll see him kind of like. I mean, again, Donald's one of those guys. You could put him as a stand-up linebacker, and Donald would probably still find a way to get 10 sacks.
He's that athletic. You could put him at edge, and he'd still be dominant.
I mean, you could put him in his 310-pound frame over here against poor Jack Conklin at right tackle. I would pay $10 to see Jack Conklin try to block Aaron Donald on the edge. I would pay money to see that, because I think that'd be funny. Just to watch Donald throw him off to the right side. Okay, so I'm sadistic a little bit.
Can I just have him see do it to Garrett Bowles?
Garrett Bowles would just fall down. Now he would hold him.
No, he would try to hold him, but Aaron Donald is just that dominant that his hold would be extremely ineffective.
Poor Bowles. So who's your college breakdown of the week?
All right, college player of the week. We are sticking with sort of defense pass rush this week. We are going with an edge player, Patrick Jones II. He's a redshirt senior from Pittsburgh, same college Aaron Donald went to. He is 6'5", 260 pounds at 22 years old. He's currently projected late second, mid third round pick. He has a great get off. He's very fluid and fast in his get off. Great core strength and tight angles, especially in the run game. He likes to attack the outside of offensive tackles using a dip and rip move to just get under them and get to the QB. But that's not all. Just in his rush lanes, just talking about rushing, he is very disciplined. He responds well and pretty quickly. He processes the run very well. He has a strong club and rip, as well as an inside move that he uses. He does also extremely well against pullers in the run game, especially if those pullers have poor technique and or leverage. He just completely dominates them. And the dude just has a extremely high motor and is very consistent. I think it was last year he had 8.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles in 11 games. And this is for Pittsburgh in the ACC. So he should be playing this year because he plays in the ACC. So he's definitely one I'll keep my eye on. And as for his cons, his hand technique could use some improvement. That's coachable. That's not really that much of a concern. He could look to add some secondary moves to his arsenal. Again, coachable. If you get him a good coach, you get him a veteran pass rusher that's going to help him out there too. Against the run, he doesn't extend his arms enough. He kind of plays close to his chest in the run game sometimes. And he plays too close to his blocker, which puts him out of position at times. and he's more flexible in his lower half than his upper half. As an edge rusher, you want to be more flexible in both halves of your body, not just one. Especially your upper half, you want to be able to dip and bend easily. But those are all coachable, except mainly probably the flexibility thing in his upper half. He might need to lose some weight in his upper half, get more lean there. But yeah, he's a projected second to third round pick. He honestly he could probably see him as an All American, All ACC, probably double digit sacks this upcoming season.
Damn, it makes my fantasy thing of the week kind of seem dull. So I actually haven't done a defense yet. I'm gonna do a defense. Indianapolis. We talked about Buckner earlier. The Indy defense is progressing a lot quicker than people thought, thanks to the surgence of freak Darius Leonard. I honestly think, combine the improvements they've made on the defensive line and, again, the upgrades, you combine that with playing in the AFC East, you get to play Jacksonville twice a year. Hey, that's 2 games where the defense might score 15 points against Jacksonville. I mean, they're that terrible. So you combine that, they play Houston, who I don't think Houston's going to be very good this year. I know it's Watson, but I don't think Houston as a team is going to be that good. I think that's another 2 games where your defense may get you some points. I think Indy is a draftable defense. Now, not a lot of defenses aren't draftable. I'd say outside your top 5, normally they're not draftable.
Yeah.
I think you maybe as like your last round or the second to last round. I don't know if you've been in fantasy leagues, Brennan.
Yeah,
I know you don't play much fantasy football.
I've won every league I've been in except for last year.
People draft freaking defenses in the 4th round.
Yeah, some people.
And it's so frustrating because it's a strategy. Because first person to do it, they get the best defense in the league normally, which is annoying. But they get the best defense in the league, and then they make you pick a defense earlier than you want. It makes better players available later. So I know I haven't really talked about draft strategy a lot. I know probably most people have done their drafts already. I'm waiting till the season gets a little closer. Listen, if you're one of those guys that drafts defense in the 4th round, I hate you because you're smart. And I hate playing against smart people because it sucks. No, that's strategy. I've done it once. I was a mean person. I drafted a defense in the 5th round. I made everyone except 2 people draft a defense in the 5th round. I was able to snag somebody in the 5th or 6th, my extra pick. Yeah, I did that. So I think Indy is a draftable defense, and I think you'll see it going off the board. I haven't checked in the last 2 weeks how fantasy boards have it, where Indy's defense is, but I imagine it's not in the top 10. Mostly they're based off last season, off additions. So I think Indy defense is one to look out for. That was it. That was actually a longer episode than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It's been
kind of
an hour 5.
Yeah, we ran. As our theme to the very end, we rambled. That's just what we do.
We love our rambling and we love our tangents. What can we say?
But if you guys stayed with us this far, we appreciate it. Thank you for listening to idiots talk about football for an hour, because you guys are masochists.
Hey, we aren't just idiots. We're Belichick's bitches.
Yeah. You stole my goddamn thunder. I was going to say that as an outro. Dang it. But thank you guys again for tuning in. We'll see you guys next.